DiTullio, who is presenting here at the ProjectWorld World Congress of Business Analysts, and who will be discussing expected behaviors for team performance. And I thought you can give us a couple of highlights about what you'll be discussing today.
Thank you. Yes. The reality is that every project requires a team. And it doesn't matter how large the team is, but every project requires a team. And more often than not, that team gets more and more complicated as the projects get more complicated. We invite in consultants, we invite in vendors, and hence we all know there's a very simple philosophy out there. The healthier the team, the more productive the team. However, healthy teams are easier said than done. So expected behaviors for team performance introduces very, very simple, or as my favorite flavor, vanilla techniques in introducing easy ways to introduce levels of communication, interaction, heighten the level of healthy attitudes and interactions so that the project team actually delivers a very successful and timely project that they can be proud of and they actually enjoy working with one another throughout the duration of the project.
Excellent. Are there some immediate thoughts as people are gathering together here and thinking about that, and team is definitely a big part of it, that you really want them to take away in participating in this type of presentation?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple of things. First of all, in my mantra of keeping things simple and keeping it vanilla, we don't need to overanalyze people's personalities and do deep dive analytics on personalities and who people are. The reality is each and every one of us are different in the way that we operate, whether it's generational differences, whether it's cultural differences, or if it's just the way we are, the way that we're bred. The reality is that most teams don't take time out of their day-to-day activities to have very easy dialogue on how they want to interact and work together. For example, how intrusive are those cell phones that ring during the course of a meeting? What happens when you want to multitask on your computer or your BlackBerry during an important discussion? Now, these may be things that are not disruptive to your group as a whole, or they could be incredibly annoying to your fellow teammate. This introduces the notion of having very simple conversations in advance, of diving in and getting the work done, allows the team to collectively define their operating norms or operating rules so that they get those things out on the table. Then if perhaps someone doesn't want to adhere to those rules that the team has collaborated on and collectively agreed to, it allows other team members to raise the issues in a very safe environment. It eliminates and reduces the amount of conflict because it doesn't become personal. The team has discussed and agreed upon it at a previous point in time. Therefore, it just requires some revisits, quick readjustment, and on to the work they go.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to your presentation. Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thanks.
It's about you as a team leader having a conversation with your team, suggesting that you spend a little bit of time talking about how you as a team want to operate as a whole. Let's talk about it, let's agree upon it, and more importantly, because we know what the power of project documentation is, and let's document it. So the group actually has a set of operating norms that they have agreed to. Now, by the way, when you develop your operating norms, they may change throughout the course of your project, right? Because we all know what happens. Different people come in and out of your project depending on which phase you're in. Or as the project progresses from one phase to the next, things get really crazy and hectic, different behavior exhibits, and you might need to revisit. But it's as simple as you as a team leader saying, let's have a conversation on these areas. By the way, as a team leader, I'm not imposing requirements in any of these. I'm simply facilitating a conversation. And even though I'm the project manager or team leader, it doesn't suggest that I can't be called on any of this stuff too. So your role in guiding your team through this conversation is guiding them in a facilitative manner, but you actually are going to be wearing two different hats. One is a team member and one is a facilitator. So basic courtesies, for example. Let's talk about that one. So assuming that no one here works for Google, how many folks are distracted by the sound of a cell phone when it rings in a meeting? So if you were going to have a conversation about basic courtesies, what might you suggest on the use of cell phones in your meetings? No cell phones, or mute them, or vibrate them. By the way, way, it doesn't mean if someone needs to take a call, they can't take it. What does it suggest? So for folks who were with me the other day, it's my favorite story, my favorite buddy Ben. I worked with a group of senior managers for months. We met every morning, Wednesdays, 8 to 10. It was C-level folks and senior executives. And every morning by 8:45, Ben's cell phone would ring. We'd all be sitting around a very nice board meeting. May would have a very pleasant daily conversation with his wife, Karen. We'd all listen to the call. Because how can you not? So even if someone's still trying to conduct a meeting, there's a conversation going on that's taking and diffusing the attention. Some people could be incredibly annoyed by it. So what we've done by allowing that to happen and never addressing it is we've increased the noise in the room. We've eliminated the focus to the business. Because now either people are listening to Vin's conversation, because how could you not? He's sitting right next to you. Or in your mind you're thinking, God damn it, why can't Vin take that call outside? It took us weeks to meet as a team before we actually introduced rules of engagement to the group. And by the way, let me remind you, this was a group of C-level executives.